With the COVID pandemic keeping many people at home and closing many businesses, we have seen a rise in the use of gig economy jobs. This can cover anything from the pizza delivery guy, grocery deliveries, Uber drivers, etc. Because many businesses are still not open due to mandatory government shutdowns, many people have taken gig-type jobs in order to continue paying for necessities such as groceries, utilities, and rent or mortgage payments. Gig economy jobs are commonly temporary and are flexible. They are usually not the primary means of one's employment. A gig worker usually connects to a customer via an online platform such as DoorDash or Freelancer.com. Benefits of gig work include flexibility to work when one wants on what one may want to work on. There are downsides to gig work as well, which we have seen in the state of California, where the government chose to interfere in the relationship between gig worker and company, attempting to require the company to treat the gig worker as an employee, thus defeating the purpose of gig work. When it comes to gig work, there are some tax-keeping items we at Tate & Associates would like for you to keep in mind. Much like self-employed workers, gig workers still must complete, file, and pay self-employment tax reports for income over $400. You can lower the amount of tax you owe by tracking qualifying expenses, so save those receipts. Some gig workers will receive Form 1099 from a client or business they may have performed work for. Other gig workers may not, which means the onus is on them to track and report that income. Keep in mind, just because you do not receive that 1099 does not mean that your customer is not reporting that expense. It's better to be proactive than reactive when it comes to dealing with the IRS. If things are going really good in your gig, it may be best to set up estimated tax payments with the IRS. This way, you are not looking at a large tax bill at the end of the year. To determine your estimated tax, just use the IRS's tax withholding calculator. These payments are due quarterly on April 15th for income earned January 1st through March 31st, June 15th for April 1st through May 31st, September 15th for June 1st through August 31st, and January 15th for September 1st through December 31st. You can make your payment online, by mail, or over the phone. When filing your annual income tax report, be careful not to mix business and personal expenses. There is definitely some gray area, such as utilities for your home office or office supplies. Depending on what your gig is, I would urge caution on what you may think a business expense is and what it isn't. Chances are you may have to justify the expense to an IRS auditor. Another requirement that is often overlooked is reporting cash payments received from gig work. Much like cash tips in a restaurant, cash payments are viewed by the IRS as income for gig workers. You may think that the IRS cannot track all cash payments received, and that is true, but you never know who that person is jumping in your Uber or tipping you off the record for their grocery delivery. Plus, most of these gig jobs are paid via an online mechanism, so not only could a gig worker be stealing from the IRS, but their quote-unquote employer as well. We mentioned filing dates for estimated tax payments previously. It is important for gig workers to keep track of all filing dates to avoid penalties and interest from taxing entities. In some jurisdictions, tax may be due to local, county, or state municipalities in addition to the IRS. Every jurisdiction is different, so it may be best to speak with a tax professional or engage their services. Gig work in our economy is growing and important for the delivery of goods and services, as well as protecting the greater population from the spread of this disease. As gig work grows, expect more government interference, as they always want their piece of the financial pie and control. If you have questions about financial issues from gig work or are exploring getting into gig work, please reach out to the professionals at Tate & Associates at 208-765-5432 or info@elkpt.com for your private consultation.